Season
Do it.
9, Episode 7, number 355 of the Decoded
355.
Podcast. 355.
Remember back in the day, we would have known that by, the end of this year, we would be at 400. Do you remember with this, like our first season, where we putting up like 40 to 50 episodes a year? We
I
were running tight. Like
We were running tight.
you were running tight. So we ran hot on the front end, and then we sort of said, okay, life, right? Let's keep life as an active part of this algorithm. I like that.
I like it too, but sometimes I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed with this time
Oh,
sometimes.
okay.
But it's obviously this is the first time I'm mentioning it to you live on air for our
hmm
millions of listeners to hear. So, and I
hmm
like that I'm hiding kind of behind my cup here.
It's good. So, sorry, the time in the morning, like it's
hmm
not. Oh, you're not a big fan of it anymore, or you never were a fan of it.
No, I used to
Truth
be a
comes
fan
out.
of it.
Truth comes out. Yeah.
Truth comes out. I used to be a fan of it more.
Yep.
Now it's just like I'm awake. That's the thing. Like it's not that. Well, I mean, today I could have fed the bunny and gone back to bed. I was up late last night, but
Yeah.
whatever. Like I don't know. Some days I'm just like, this sucks. I don't want to do this at this time. But
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I'm not cemented into this time. Sorry, Gary. Sorry, Rochelle. If you're out there, yeah, we're at
Rochelle's
Bon
here
Matin.
on my team.
Hey, bon journée, bon soirée. You might have to come up with another one if we decide to go after hours on this one. I don't feel compelled to keep it at this time. I think it's if it's no longer, well, like anything else, right? Like it's not bound. It's only bound to what works for you and I. That's all that has to come down to. So really, even if you're waking up and you're like, you know what, today's not the day.
Morning,
Good
G.
morning. Yeah, morning, Gary.
Good morning,
Um,
Rochelle.
if it doesn't work with your day, then hell, man, go back to bed. Go back to bed. DM me. Go back to bed. I'll get my chores done. I'll get my prep done. I will move things around.
We'll
That's a
never.
great thing that this actual event, you and I talking, relative to the amount of talking we do in the week, it could happen at any friggin' day of the week. Like in a lot of ways, the way that we kind of just drop in, drop out. But the way that so not only this as an event, as a singularity is mobile, the things that I have packed around it are mobile. So that's a really nice kind of bit of freedom. So the stuff that I feel like my chores, the shit I got to get done on the weekend, there isn't really a specific order of it. I would say the only one that I would say is I'm trying to get consistently locked in is going to get gas in the morning because that's just way too convenient to roll into Costco at like 6:10 in the morning and have a choice of one of 24 pumps to actually pump up my vehicle. Like that's just amazing. I'm in and out. I'm done. It's just it's an effortless tick box in the morning. And I love that to the point where I don't even want to put on a tick box, but I like to do tick and check boxes. So I do. I use Google Task and I have my Saturday list, gas, tick. I'm like, why do I even do that? Why is it so satisfying?
Well, that's good that it works for you. I mean, that's
hmm
important.
hmm
That's important for us to have things that work for us, help us with our productivity. Um, Can I shift? I want to shift.
Absolutely. You shift, I sip.
Awesome. The good protein. Sipping the good protein. As I'm sipping, when I went last time I went to Costco and I needed new coffee, I usually get the McDonald's coffee, the McCafe,
I
which
saw it was on sale. They keep advertising that. Funny you should say that. At the pump, $12 off or some shit like that for whatever number of McCafe you get.
I didn't get though. I didn't get it. I ended up getting the Lavazza.
Mm.
You know why I did that?
Because you like saying Lavazza.
No.
Oh.
Because I think Lavazza sponsored Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee series.
I think you're right.
And so now I'm like, hey, I can be part of Jerry's empire. So
Nice.
I like that there's a little connection to Seinfeld.
Is it Lavazza or Lavazza?
Oh, but bro, I don't know. That's a great question.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna wreck it and call it Lavazza, but it's probably something a little bit more European, a little bit more yeah,
If
Lavazza, whatever. I don't know. I've never heard it. Oh, maybe
Yeah, so I think it well, if I go back to so I would have said Lavazza. I
Lavazza.
don't know. I actually don't know, but I learned that because Lavazza coffee was the coffee way back in the day where I did my apprenticeship.
I knew you were gonna say
Uh
that. I knew
yeah,
it.
the
At the
restaurant.
restaurant, Italian. Yeah.
At the restaurant. Yeah. So um La Fontana, the fountain. So
A
yeah, it's funny.
Fontana
I
do
I
you?
actually, dude, I had to do some real deep recall for that. I was like, what was the
Oh,
name of that restaurant? Like it
oh,
took me a second to recall it. But the experience I'll never forget because so first off, they called it Lavazza, whatever. And what they really liked, there's two espressos that they have. They have Lavazza Rosso and Lavazza d'Oro, so gold and red. I will say the Lavazza d'Oro, gold, for espresso is excellent. It's just excellent flavor. They got both depending on they mostly had the gold, but they'd have the red every once in a while. So but that making coffee, I like that sort of you're talking about the Seinfeld coffee, and I love how that, coffee with comedians and friends, because I still remember the day when we were doing well, you've seen The Bear, right?
yeah.
And they talk about, his first experience of making family dinner, which is basically cooking lunch for all the staff. So the same day, I was responsible for family lunch. And then at the end of it, I was like, this kind of worked out okay. And they also said that I was responsible for coffees. So I had to make coffee for the table as well. And that was in my culinary career, I would say still rates in the top 5 of stressful moments. And I did a good number of things in the restaurant business, but that making coffee for that table of people that I deeply respected and wanted to do it right. Um, I remember that Lavazza coffee, Lavazza d'Oro. I can even still remember. I still remember what everyone's order was
Oh,
too. Like as I go around the table, and I'm just mentally imagining the people that would be at that table. Yeah, I can remember.
um, there is something satisfying about being with a group of people that you deeply respect and
Hmm.
serve, spend time with.
Hmm.
Lately, I've been craving that. I tried to talk to Gary this week on the telephone. We couldn't make it happen.
Hmm.
I didn't pull a Gary either. I didn't just text him a couple times and call him. I tried to arrange. Gary's probably right now saying, "I'm not like that, Roland," and I'm just having fun with it. But I'm going to shift until Gary drops a bomb on me here in the comments. I had an interesting experience yesterday. I actually thought of you
Okay.
because you have a daughter,
Mhm,
and I know Gary has a daughter.
mhm.
Rochelle, do you have two daughters? You have to educate me on that. I believe you have one. I know you have two children. I hope I got that right. Anyway, okay. I went to pick up my son from school, from university,
Mhm.
and I was the parking lot right at his residence is interesting. So I always look to get a prime people watching spot because I get there a little early. I got time to kill. I was reading our book for the book club, and but I still wanted to be facing the humans. It's fascinating. The age range, the clothing, the socialization. It's fascinating. Anyway, I'm sitting there, I pull in, I get a prime spot, and I see these two young men, I'm guessing early 20s. These two young men are standing on a path, and what they're doing is every time it appeared as though when a young female or a group of females would pass them, they would talk to them. I lowered my, at first I wasn't sure what they were doing. It didn't look like a pattern, just looked like two guys saying something to a female. And then I lowered my window so I could hear them. And I actually took pictures. I took pictures because well, let me keep going. So females are walk people who appear to be female, okay? Girls are walking past, women are walking past, and they're kind of waving them down because I guess everybody wears ear pods now. Nobody is just walking. Everybody, there's a lot of this worried me too. There's a lot of people walking with earbuds in and looking down at their phone. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a goddamn nightmare from a like a strategic perspective. This is a
Hmm.
nightmare if I wanted to assault someone or try to steal something. Like this is gold for a criminal, is what I'm thinking. So these two guys are like, hey, what's your name? Hey, we're talking to you. What's your name? What's your major? Where do you live? They're doing like what appeared to be one of those stupid YouTube TikTok
Um,
type
yeah.
stopping the girls, and maybe there's a camera hidden away somewhere capturing this, okay? And so they'd stop the females and they would, hey, what's up? What's your major? Do you like to hear what year are you in? I'm so and so, what's your name? And then eventually they would get to, can I have your snap? Oh, Rochelle, just one child. Okay, sorry, Rochelle, I thought you had two kids. Sorry. Anyway, so anybody with a daughter, you might feel a little bit of the burn here because these guys, they were on the edge. They were on the edge of respectful but not respectful. Like one girl some people walked past and they wouldn't stop and talk, which I don't blame them for because I was feeling a little bit nervous watching them do their thing, and I'm thinking, I'm a grown ass man sitting in my car and I'm feeling nervous. Um, so, you know, so they, nice smile. Come on over and chat with us. And when a guy would walk past, they'd give him a fist bump and say, I like your outfit or whatever. I couldn't tell. The one of them was laughing all the time, but in like a stupid laugh, like a high
Yeah.
school stupid laugh. And I'm like, okay, that's automatically like that's a problem because then I thought I would love when I go to visit my son, I would love to park myself on that path with a tripod and a camera and say, "Hey, happy Friday? Can I ask you some questions for my video?" Like that would be cool, but I wouldn't be doing a stupid laugh. I wouldn't be hey, can I have your snap? Like that wouldn't
Hmm.
be my approach, right? But it would be fascinating to talk to some of these people about certain things and try to get information. So these two guys are doing this thing, and now I see a pattern. They're stopping young women mostly. They are talking to the guys, but they're talking more to the women, the ladies, and they're flirting, I guess. And so this anyway, I don't need to get into details. So I started taking pictures, and I texted my wife. I said, "Check out these clowns." I said, "I'm taking pictures because if something goes south, I'm calling campus security. Like, this isn't cool. I'm thinking about my son walking from class back. He's already uncomfortable. And for two guys to make fun of you or to do whatever they're doing, I don't like it." And then I thought, um, I was thinking about you because I know your daughters would like to go to post secondary, be away from her
Hmm.
parents. I'm thinking of Gary and his daughter having been on this campus. Um, I'm just like a rush of friends that have daughters, right?
Hmm.
And sons. Like I'm thinking my son's gonna be walking this path soon, coming back expecting to see me. What are they gonna say to him? Are they gonna say something positive and give him a fist bump, or are they gonna make fun of his shoes? Like, what are they gonna do? Then
Hmm.
what am I gonna do? Because I'm reading how to be a comprehensive man, right? And
Yeah.
the man for the moment. And I'm thinking these young men could benefit from this textbook, right? So I lower my window, I take a couple of pictures so they can be identified if they need to be. And then I'm waiting. If they say something inappropriate to somebody, I'm getting out of the car and I'm going over. And I'm going over to say, hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing? You know, just provide the person that they're talking to an out. Like, oh shit, this guy's coming over. I'm gonna leave now. I was bothered, bro. I was bothered by the shenanigans. I was because I felt like there were moments of disrespect. I felt like there were childish moments, And I feel like in that space, in that place, there's already enough stress. There's a financial cost of being there. There's a lot going on. Some of these young women looked very uncomfortable, and that bothered me because that could be me out there asking an honest question, a serious situation, and they would be uncomfortable. So I'm like, that's not cool that, like, for someone like me who might have a legitimate reason to talk to somebody, and they're like, oh God, who's this guy talking to me? Then you got these two clowns. Um, they even said, somebody said, well, what do you study here? They're like, oh, we're just here to meet a friend. So they were, whether they're pretending or not, they were advertising that they were not students at the university, that they were just there, while all
Mhm.
these other people are walking with their textbooks or with their food, going to their dorm or going to their class or whatever they're doing. I was bothered. I was bothered and I was prepared to get out of my car and to go and be a distraction. I was going to kind of do the same thing they were doing and actually have some fun, right? To just see how they would treat me as an old dude, and then how would I respond to them, and how would I do it so that they could get a vibe that maybe wasn't a good vibe, but I wasn't actually doing anything. If somebody was videotaping, they'd be like, he wasn't doing anything. But if you read between the lines, you'd be like, this guy, what's this guy doing? Is he being serious with us? Is he joking with us? Is he a danger? Is he a threat? As I'm reading the book. And strangely enough, I was on the chapter of the fighter, when to step
Mhm.
away and when not to step away, and how do you deal with this and the consequences. So I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that as I don't know, I'm sure you and your wife will most likely have a conversation with your daughter. You probably already have, around safety, being out in public, no, being aware of your surroundings. I was like, these guys, one girl, she's walking, she's on her phone, and they're like, yo, come over here and talk to us. What's your name? Who are you talking to? And she goes, I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, no way. Yeah. And then, like, tell your mom that we're saying hello. She's like, hey mom, I can hear this from my car. Hey mom, two guys just saying hello, and then they say something to her, she takes her phone and she, like, aims it, they're behind her, and I guess she turned on her camera or something for mom to see. And then one of the boys came in and smiled and said, hey mom, I'm your daughter's boyfriend. And then I guess she hung up the phone, they talked a little bit, and then she left. And I was like, that's just dumb. Like, that's just dumb. And then I'm like, oh my God, if I was that girl's mom, I feel like so helpless right now. What's happening? Who are these guys that I was bothered for my son. I was bothered for my son. So when my son came, and there's a moment where I catch a glimpse of my son coming down the path. Normally I take up my phone, I take pictures. He's embarrassed, but I'm loving every minute of it, right? He comes to me, I'm like, hey, did do you know these two clowns? And I showed him the pictures. He's like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, I explained it to him. I said, what would you do if they said something to you? Because I just keep walking. I'm like, okay. And my son's not on his phone. This is like the fourth or fifth time I've seen him coming from class. He's not on his phone. He's walking. He's looking around. And I told him, hey, good for you. Stay off that friggin' phone unless there's an emergency. You need to know what's going around around you. You need to know, because if you're looking down, somebody wants to do something to you or whatever. That's not cool. And then he's like, "Oh, are you really? You're lecturing me?" I'm like, this is serious. You don't mess around with this shit. You need to be aware at all times. You never know what's happening. You got two clowns here doing these TikTok pranks or whatever. I don't know what they want from you. I don't know if they're going to scam you or what they're up to. He's just like, whatever, Dad. Can we go now? I'm like, yeah, we can go now. So I wanted to share that with you. I was bothered, man. I was bothered as a dad. I was bothered as a man. I'm like, this is dumb. You guys are being dumb. And then they were successfully gaining contact information for these people. And then I'm like, what do you need contact information for 50 girls for? Just stupid. I'm thinking, I know they're guys, but I didn't like their guys being guys. I didn't like that. There you go. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Um, I can I can see the the dad in this moment measuring the surroundings, sort of scanning, doing the dad radar. Um, I know, back in the day, one of the first get to know you stories that you talked about was standing with your family in lines in public places. And just doing and I think this was probably even pre-COVID that you told the story, but it was sort of looking around to see like what is my surroundings? Where am I? Who's in this space? Where are my kids? Where's my spouse? Is it safe? Can we just be can we just sort of be here? So I know just from your storytelling that the idea of safety and kind of surveillance, is my family safe, is um it's a high priority to you, flat out. Um, I don't, I will say for me, I, I do, I see what you see in this moment, and I see what you see in this moment frequently, even all over the place, like just random places, this, opportunistic, slightly voyeuristic, and definitely male energy, trope of dudes with phones and sort of charisma in a way, like they're like used car salesmen. Like they have this kind of like used car snake oil kind of um smarminess to them. And when I lens it like that, I automatically think of a power dynamic where they're looking to get something that the person that they're approaching doesn't see coming. Like there's a gotcha kind of element to it. And to that end, I do sort of my defenses go up. We've talked about it in the house here. We've talked about it just in general. We talk about it from the point of view of, especially because we like to travel and we've traveled, you know, different places in Canada, different places in the States. So we've told the kids that to sort of just pay attention in the general sense to your surroundings is of great value. I said it creates freedom, mobility, the mental mapping of your environments. If you can expand it and actually recall it, like that's just valuable information. I don't know if we've actually dipped directly into the safety factor. I know we've talked about it, but I don't think um like it sounds to me like you've been far more explicit than we have. We haven't said you gotta, we haven't put the sort of like that exclamation kind of mark on it, like it's highlighted. Have we talked about it? Yeah. Do I see what you see there? Yes. Would I have been bothered? I don't think I would have been bothered because as you're telling me this story, what sort of occurred to me, what I wondered is, were you bothered at all that you were bothered? Because I think therein lies part of part of the preparation and learning. That if you knew exactly how you were going to respond, then that pulls some of the bother off. Like it creates a mental state of safety. I know exactly what I'm going to do because I'm going to be in action to respond when I need to be. So that's I think where I would probably be more in. It's it's sort of like defensive tools coming on board. And then it's just there for me. And I know that if I had to get out of the car, or if I had to go interact, or if I had to sort of support someone, those kind of like mechanics are already in motion. But I don't know if I would say I'd be bothered. I would just have a sense of another toolkit being kind of like the Iron Man scene of Tony on the racetrack. And he encounters that guy with the whip. I forget what his name is, and he just kind of throws down the suitcase, and it's like duk, 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 duk. Like it's just right there for him, and then it kind of packs back up in the suitcase again. Um, I've been in moments where um, the toolkit didn't come on board fast enough. So I was surprised and bothered. I was in an emotional state as opposed to a clear active state. And that clear active state is really useful, really, really useful. But I also say clear active state only works with clear intent. because if you don't have clear intent as in what you're going to do with that active state, then for me, sometimes I make mistakes because clear active state narrows everything down to a singular action. This is the thing that's going to happen, and it's go time. I find that I lose some of my creative analyses in that space because it's just like there's not as much space for it to be like that. Like I stop imagining what's going to happen. I I create a reality of what is happening, and then I just sort of move towards it. So in this particular case, I like that you kind of stayed slightly diverse and asked questions. I also expect that if you needed to, you would have gone and interacted. I do believe you. You would have gone and done something.
I was aware that I was observing. I was, I want, like I said, I observed it, and then I
Hmm.
listened to it, and then I got some data in case I needed to call somebody.
Hmm.
Um, so this is, it's interesting. I was disturbed. I was disturbed because some of the ladies that walked away, I could see what I saw, the expression on their face and their body language
Hmm.
was one of escape. It
Yep.
was, you know, um, I'm not an expert, but I will tell you that some of the young ladies smiled and were appeared like when some like this for some of them they said, "Hey, you got a nice smile," as they're walking past, and I'm like, that young lady does have a nice smile. And
Hmm.
you see the young lady smile and like she wasn't she didn't start walking faster. She didn't have a different look on her face. So she's like, "Oh, that's nice." But other ones were like, you could tell by the look on their face because prior to seeing them, I saw them coming. So I'm looking at their face, I'm looking at their body language. Then they interact, and then post interaction they look different, they're acting different. So I
Hmm.
was just like, okay, I got pictures in case I need to let somebody official know. I'm and I wasn't going to get out of the car I was going to get out of the car to be a distraction so that I could they wouldn't interact with other people while I'm there. And then I thought to myself, how do I manage this when my son approaches? How do I signal my son to just walk past me like he doesn't know me so that he doesn't become a target connected with me? Like this was going through my mind. I kind of enjoy there's a part of me that enjoys the strategizing and the thinking,
Hmm.
right? But at the same time, I was just like, no, you guys aren't going to get away scot free with your shenanigans, depending on how it goes. I can get out of the car and chat. Hey, what's going on, guys? What are you guys up to today? And do mirror to them what they were doing to others, not in a negative way, just like the fist bump and comment on their shoes and
Hmm.
whatever. Hey, you guys go to school here. What year are you in? I was going to do the same thing. I was going to do the same thing. And I know you'll appreciate this. I was looking around for the cameras. Where are the cameras? Where I'm parked in a residence parking lot. I'm surrounded by buildings. Where are the cameras? So I'm like surveilling. I'm like, where are they? I'm happy to get out and be on camera in this instant. Um, did I ever tell you why I operate this way? Where it comes from? Did I ever tell you? Is
Your wallet?
my wallet?
You had mentioned that you were robbed.
Yes, but I wasn't robbed from my wallet.
Oh, jacket?
Yes, jacket.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is what season 9, episode 7, 355, baby. When I was
We're
in high
going
school.
That's right, but we're going back to like season 1 or season 2 that
Did
I
I
think you told
mention
this
it
story.
back then?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It came up, but connect the dots now
Well,
because
the dots just are.
we're like 8 years later, and
Ah,
the experience, and 8 years later from the time you told the story the first time, which I'm sure there was something that sparked your 8 years ago. I'm gonna make an AI kind of moment here. I'm betting 8 years ago I found out about I called it Wallet the Jacket story because you were probably talking about watching your family.
mm.
And I think it is fascinating to me that we're now 8, 9 years later and it's coming up again as related to family and just watching your surroundings.
It's a perfect example of how you go
Hmm.
through something in life and then you change something about how you operate in life
Hmm.
to think that that experience isn't going to happen again, when really we
Yep,
all know you don't have control over that, and
it
the
is true.
probability of it happening again is probably mathematically low. But again, I'm in high school. I'm in grade 10, I think, and I'm coming home. I'm on the city bus. I get off at a stop that I normally wouldn't have got off on at, and the way I'm walking from the stop to my house is it was like the perfect place to get robbed, because there's nobody there. Like it's a I was I took a direct path home, but that direct path led with the ease of the path is what brought on the difficulties that come with being isolated. So anyway, I get off the bus and two guys, they robbed me. And they were watching me, like when I look back, they were watching me from the bus terminal, and they kind of followed me home, like
Mm.
looking to do whatever they needed to do. So that's what I'm just now, I pay attention more. I wasn't, I realized I wasn't paying attention then. I was just in grade 10 coming home from school and this thing happens. Um, and I wouldn't want that to happen to other people. So it's important to be aware. Um, anyway, so yeah, from that experience, it's and from that experience, so I was up on a hill, and it's perfect. I was on the hill, and as this is happening, I remember looking down the hill, and I could see people on the sidewalk walking, kind of just looking up, and I was thinking, is anybody going to help me? So I'm in my car, and I'm wondering, these people that these guys are talking to, there's people all around.
Hmm.
Is anybody going to help? If is anybody going to notice? I noticed, and I would have been happy to step out of my car and approach if needed. It wasn't needed. They were being stupid, but I was like, man, it's one thing to say to somebody, "Hey, you got a nice smile. What's your name?" But when you do it to 50 of them, then it's gamified, right? It's not,
Hmm.
there's an authenticity that's missing to me.
Yep.
Authenticity that's missing. But I was like, at first I was like, good on you guys. You just, you see a female that you want to talk to, and you do it respectfully. Awesome. I wish my son would do that a little bit more. He sees somebody he'd like to speak to, and he politely, "Hey, I'm so and so. What's your name?" Yeah, they might think it's weird, but who cares? Especially if you're being authentic, and my take is there's cameras everywhere. So watch
Hmm.
the tape. I just approached to talk. I didn't touch. I didn't do anything negative in like physical, because sometimes people make shit up. So
Yeah.
anyway, I wanted to share that with you, just
I
because you have family and
Yeah,
you care
yeah.
about your family. Yeah.
I have a pivot on it that allows you to have some fun with this. So I have a school connection to this. So in my school, the office is kind of in this at the center of the sometimes the teachers call it the crossroads. So it's like just in this main hallway, two different hallways intersect, and you can go out the front door to the school, you can go into the office, you can actually even go down deeper into the school. There's another walkway there. And the one corner of the office that I'm approaching as I'm walking towards it, I'm about 50 feet away from it, is all glassed. So when they're in the people in the office can look out. So that's just to give you a sense of the hub. Now between classes, it's busy there. That's where everyone kind of, meets up and chats. And it's, yeah, as if you're trying to navigate to make it through from one arm to the other, like you literally have to snake all around easily 100 kids that are just chilling and talking and kind of milling. So as I'm coming up, I am doing like you, I'm surveilling, right? So when you move through that large space, I'm also that crowded space, I am I am mapping how I'm going to move through it because I don't like to stop. I'm checking relational information and social information. I'm also just kind of just generally watching for moving impediments. So it's a very dynamic space to move through. And I can see the stress on other people for moving through that space as people get really, really kind of freaked out by it. But again, we don't have a social spot other than that. That is like schools, you need that. You need milling spaces where the kids can just kind of like cluster up. This is the spot. As I'm moving up, I see a group of boys just off to the right side. One of them in particular is doing the bouncy boy, idiot kid kind of stuff, pushing his friend, pretending to UFC, pretending to kind of do like low sweep kicks to like this kind of stuff. And so every time he does a certain flurry of motion, he looks up. So I'm coming from this direction. He's facing this direction. Every time he does something like this, he's facing his buddies. He looks over at the office to check to see if anyone sees him do it. And he does that 3 times. By the point I come up and I'm standing right here beside him, right here beside him. Now, one of the things that he didn't know that I knew about him is that he's on the football team. So, you know, in the effort to always find a greased way to de-escalate, I'm constantly creating like these little kind of comments or kind of scripts that I'm going to use if I encounter a moment, not unlike this moment that you're observing from your car. So I come up beside him, and as I'm beside him, he's still looking in the office to see if anyone has noticed his idiot behavior. At this point, all of his boys have kind of backed off. So he looks back at them. He's like, and then he looks to his right and he sees me standing there. And I'm just standing there with a smile. And everyone's like, okay, what's going to happen? And I say to him, if we were on the field right now, you would have been flattened. And he kind of gets this look on his face like he's glitching, like what that words mean. And one of his boys says, that's exactly what the coach keeps telling you. And I'm like,
Oh,
and I just walk away. And you can see some of the kids are like, oh, like they're like, but that was the exact same sort of thing. I mean, it's a sports truth. It's an absolute sports truth. I'm like, dude, you have to check your 3, your 6, your 9. You got to have your head on a swivel as I'm sort of walking away from him. I'm like, you weren't even looking in the right direction. I said, nobody in the office was watching you. And I just kept on walking down to the office. And I could hear his buddies like, damn. Like, so it's interesting that to have a similar context, different situation, but it does make me wonder if you are also creating the kata that you were going to use when you came out to be an effective individual if you had to intervene. I could do this. Okay, maybe this would happen. I could do this. Maybe this could happen. And the fact of it is that you had as much time observing the hot spot as I did. Like I had a good 100 feet as I was walking up. And the fact of it is, I was at advantage, or so I thought. That could have turned, right? Just because you observe doesn't necessarily mean you got the skills to navigate the moment. It so happened that there was enough of a stun. I also had the protection of school. I had the power of being a teacher. I look old. Like there's all those other things that obviously are active energizers in my favor. Powers up, right? But I'm imagining that your process sitting there, you're kind of going through some of the same tactical analyses as in, okay, I get out. What side of my car, where am I going to walk around? Am I going to pause? Am I going to stop at that tree? Do I just do a casual walk past and pretend I accidentally hear something? Like I like I enjoy it. I enjoy working through the challenge. Um, and I will say in my particular case, it worked out okay. And then I saw the guy later on and he just kind of it was during one of the transitions. And I mean there was a moment he looked at me like he knew who I was. He knew what I could represent. He was still kind of joking with his buddies. It's not like he was being, prim and proper with them. But I have to say I kind of enjoyed that moment. I felt like it was a good mentoring moment. A lot of different things connected for that kid to sort of understand and basically have a moment where he's looking up from his phone. He saw exactly for that moment what was going on around him. And I don't know. I will say in a young man's life, I think I gave him a gift. Because he could also recover with dignity, even though his boys were like, yeah, that's what the coach tells you. So
I think hopefully he's smart enough to understand the gift.
Could be. Yep.
I mean,
It's in his hands. It's in his hands.
right, it's in
Maybe
his
not now,
hands.
maybe later. Yeah, like
Yeah.
so he's holding it. Whether he's ever going to say, thanks, Clough, for sort of like
No.
it's that ain't the thing, right? Um, but I know from my past, when I was a kid, when I was learning to cook, when I was kind of figuring out what it meant to travel the world, I know the people that kind of were able to cut through some of that bullshit moment and offer me something straight up. And at the time, I was like, maybe I didn't have a way to kind of take it in. But it's funny how some of those things come back to me now. Come back to me now. So,
Um, another thing I was very aware of that I would have enjoyed more is if anybody was observing me,
mm,
observing them, and that they feel the need to come talk to me about
yep. What are you
something.
looking at? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
yeah,
would
they
have
address
loved.
you as a potential threat or a
Yes,
person of interest.
and
It would be a person of interest. Yeah.
I would love to have that conversation. Really, I would, and it'd be great. Sometimes, like as I'm sitting in my car, I'm looking around, and I can pick out with, I think, some successful certainty the other parents waiting in their car for their kids, and
Mm,
whether they're looking at me as a person of interest, right?
mm,
Because you got this bearded man. And I say that because stereotypically, bro, I'm learning every day. Stereotypically, my look is not one that brings people comfort initially. This is
mm,
my understanding of how people see me when they tell me, "Oh, when I first met you, I thought you were going to be really aggressive and you look mad in the beard." And they just say stuff. And I'm
mm,
like, "Okay, so my collection and I got, I understand that my perspective is skewed. I'm telling you about all the times people tell me that they see me and they think negative. I'm sure there's lots of times people have seen me and thought positive, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the negative. And so I wonder how many people are like, who's this guy? Who's this guy on his phone and reading a book sitting in that spot with his windows down? Who is he? What's he doing here? He's been sitting there
mm,
for I was there for like 30 minutes. Who's this guy? I'm sure it's happening at some level because when I look around and I see somebody in their car, I'm like, I wonder, is that a boyfriend or is that a brother to pick up a girlfriend or a guy friend? Or I'm just thinking, I wonder who this person is in this car. Who are they waiting for? Are they waiting? Or are they students that just parked? They're doing something in their car before they get out and go to wherever they need to go. Like,
mm.
I'm just thinking, right? So that would be cool.
Yeah.
I would love if somebody came up to me and said, "What are you doing here staring at people? Hey, let's have a conversation. Who are you?
Yeah,
I'm Roland.
exactly.
Who are you? And what are you doing?" And I'm waiting for my son, right? And I'm watching people while I wait for my son. I'd be happy to enter into that conversation. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not
That's
at
where
all.
people, yeah, that's where people, I would actually, I would love to talk to somebody while I'm waiting for my son, just to get a feel for who are these people. Because, man, I was thinking about the BC for men when I go to pick up my son or drop him off, because in that space at that time, I am like always looking around. I see what appears to be people just like me, parents who are there to drop off or pick up. It's really cool, and I want to get video of it, and I want to share with you guys what I see and the emotions attached to that experience.
Kind of just a sidebar to this. So Maddie has started to talk about a couple of different universities that are of interest. So right away I went on Facebook and I joined parent groups for those universities. Have you done that with?
I belong to a couple of groups of the university my kid goes to. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was wondering because I found those to be kind of really fascinating spaces to sort of watch what some of the conversations are happening. And I have to do a lot of work to not get distracted by what is currently happening there with the kids and the concerns as opposed to what of those concerns could still be a concern in the future, because I can't to jump into it now. I have no current data, and I feel like sometimes if you don't have current data or experience, you're misleading the conversation. It's almost like just let the people talk about what they need to talk about. Don't add in a layer the what if, the what about, like just because because they're open forums, a lot of people just jump in saying extra stuff that end up diffusing the necessity, the important stuff of the conversation. So I just do a lot of listening right now. But I found it's giving me a bit of a sense of some of the things you're talking about, like getting to hear from some of the parents, some of their, strategies and challenges and thoughts that are occurring because their child is in first year university. So that's good. That's good that you're there.
Can I share a moment? I want to share another moment.
Hmm.
This one not as this was, bro, right up the alley of our book. The moment the man the moment the man demands.
The moment demands.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm always, all I
Yeah,
know is
yeah.
it's about moments and the person that you present at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm at the rink. My youngest one's playing hockey. My oldest one is with me. We're at ice level. We're away from a lot of people and we're watching the game. And my oldest is cheering on his brother. And he's not swearing, but he's saying, he's just banging on the glass, saying things and not directed at just directed at his brother. Good job. Keep doing that. This is awesome. Stuff like that. There was a father from the other team who was standing relatively close, and he was getting ramped up the whole game. He was swearing. He was yelling at kids on his own team about their lack of performance. So he was in a different place.
Mm.
And he was slowly getting angrier and angrier as the game went on because his team was losing and they just were not doing well. This father ends up, the reason why I'm calling him father is because he had a kid on the ice and he had a kid with him and he had his wife with him who didn't say a peep. He ends up arguing with a woman close to me about a situation on the ice. And I'm like, you guys are dumb, right? Like, this is dumb. Close to the end of the game, he starts making comments about my son, about my
Mm.
oldest one standing beside me. And he's swearing. Like, he's making comments about what Ben is saying. And Ben's not talking to anybody. Ben's just doing his thing. So I walk over a little bit to him. I'm like, what's your problem? Like, he's cheering for his brother. I just felt at that moment, I'm like, you're stepping over a line. Mind your own business. I shouldn't have, now that I look back, I should have just ignored him. But kind of walked over. I said, what's your problem? He's just cheering on his brother. And then he starts telling me what his problem is. And he's not saying it in a very nice way. And I'm like, whatever, take a hike kind of thing. And then he says to me, he goes, you want to fight? Let's go. You're going to regret it. And this is when I stopped and I looked at him and I'm like, fight? I'm not going to fight you. I'm a grown man. Who fights as grown men over this? And then I said, you're a loser. I'm out of here. And I walked back to my son, and my son's like, what's going on? So I tell him, and he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, the guy is like, you're gonna fight, you're gonna regret. And I'm like, what? It was perfect because I was like, no matter how Neanderthal I can be, I recognize there is no value in what is happening here. I shouldn't have even have gone to talk to him. But I was like, you're a loser. That you want this is what you want to do? You're a grown man, middle aged. I'm in second half. He's probably still in first because I don't know, he's not operating. But
Oh, that poor first halfer.
all that to say, then he leaves, and then I do the safety thing with my son. I'm like, you're gonna go
Hmm.
out that door and you're gonna go straight to the car,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna walk the other way so I can keep an eye on that guy.
yeah.
So game ends, he goes to the car, I go the other route. I see the guy, I make sure to eyeball him like I'm not gonna fight you, but I'm certainly gonna watch you. Go to the car, take off my coat, come back to the front of the place where he's standing outside, kind of eyeballing him, kind of now at this point I'm being a different man. Now I'm being I know what you're about and I'm watching you.
Your surveillance guy.
Well, I'm now the man that's I'm like, we're not in there anymore. Now it's like, and I'm not gonna fight. That was
Yeah.
never my intention. But I'm like, I'm not walking away from you because you yelled at me. I'm gonna stand right here and wait for my son. He comes over. He's got this look on his face of embarrassment and kind of like meekness, puts out his hand to shake my hand and apologizes. And what man did that moment require? So I
Hmm.
said to him, "Hey, I accept your apology." I'm like, "You got to take it easy, man. Like you acting like that, it's not going to end like this every time for people because there's crazy people everywhere and
Hmm.
they go wild over hockey. Sometimes I get upset, but I'm not upset at others. I'm just focused on the game. I'm into it. I'm invested in the game and it makes me emotional. But never do I say to somebody, "You want to fight?" or swear at them or whatever. Anyway, so he shakes my hand, he apologizes. I tell him, "Hey, good for you for recognizing what you did wasn't the right thing to do." And I'm like, "You gotta be careful. You're gonna this is not gonna always end this way, unfortunately for you, I
Hmm.
and then he leaves. But then other people were getting riled up because I had texted the team to say, "Stay away from this man. This is what this man looks like. He is unhinged. He's going off on anybody from the other team that's in front of him. So just stay away from him." Unfortunately, that was a signal call to some of the men. They decided the moment they wanted
Hmm.
was different than the one I wanted. They're like, "Where is this guy?" I'm like, "He's gone. He apologized. It's fine." Um, but yeah, this book, I mean, without the book, I was very aware of the different the way he defines a different type of men,
Hmm.
how to be at a certain time and why you would do that. And I
Yep.
feel like he's very responsible in his descriptions. Like there is not a man that he describes that is supposed to lose their cool
No.
and do something stupid. There isn't
The
that doesn't exist.
the irony, not the irony, maybe the reality, the groundwork that is a part of this story is the fact the author is a trained fighter.
Yes.
And we often get, I think that's what kind of drew me into this book originally. It's this idea that training training well, first and foremost, of course, mental training absolutely important, physical training absolutely important. The synergy between the two is gold. There is a gold level there, a gold standard of moment meeting when you can harmonize or access whatever your toolkit is of physical wellness and mental wellness. There is. That's a golden, that's the golden level of preparedness. And what I liked about this is that I think what drew me to it was the physical side of the rigor that this book would present, because I first saw him in his videos in that cave of Abdullah, his sort of his martial arts training and mentorship program. And I thought this is something that is kind of new for us to kind of talk about in the group, that because I would say the the pop culture version of someone that is a, like a healthy physical specimen as far as masculinity and male goes, it also sometimes comes with his unhinged mindset. And you can think of boxing, martial arts, or sort of like UFC kind of mindset, that the aggressive thinking is only seconds before the aggressive action. But there really is something about this dude, Jason Wilson, where you really get the sense that he has found a grounding, the groundwork of, actually, I think he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which ironically is something that keeps popping up frequently with individuals that I find I respect their philosophy, their philosophical side. It's kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, they're trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, there it is again. What is it about this martial arts that draws people to it and helps them to draw the best out of themselves? So I like that. And I think I'm starting to appreciate that a little bit more because I've spent a long time, well, at least a decade with you, building my mind. And I think as a personal reflection, it's time for me to start doing as much for my body so that there is a harmonized version here, that the best possible physical version of me can use the best possible thinking version of me. So I like it. That's what I've sort of come to understand is what I appreciate. This book will definitely, for me in our conversations, open up more direct conversations about how are you taking care of your physical health. It's so obvious, the sort of the mental health stuff. We spent a lot of time talking about that. But how tell walk me through this and to be able to kind of poke and prod a little bit that in the conversations. Are we focusing as well on just becoming physically well? Second half of life for me, one of the main topics has to be how do I make it to the end of my second 50 years? And it won't just be with good thoughts. So I dig that. That's if I take the whole second half of life as the moment, the man it's demanding is someone that's more responsible for his health. None of the other stuff disappears. Health, strength, and the other mental wellness stuff. So there's my TED talk.
We got to change that. No more TED Talks.
Okay. Okay.
No more. We got to call it something else.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we did. Did we at one time? Did we come up with another back in the day when we were creating all those products for the decoded?
Probably.
We probably
My kids were blown away recently when my youngest said, "Why don't you do a TED Talk?" I said, Clough and I put our names in to do a TEDx talk, and the
Yep.
silence. They're like, "What?"
Yep.
Yeah, and then they're like, "What did?"
Neither one of us was racialized enough. That's I definitely was not. And obviously they did not do not see you as a viable story. Um
They're like,
I
what did Chris want to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't remember."
yeah, I don't remember what I was proposing.
But you should have seen the look on their faces. They were like, "You did? What
Yeah.
happened?" I'm like, "I didn't get picked." They're like,
Hmm.
"What?" It's just funny that all
Hmm.
this TED Talk stuff, and then they're like, "You did what?" It's funny. They're giving my wife a hard time these days. They're like, "Dad should do a doctorate. Dad is the type of person who doctorate. What do you think, Mom?" And she's like, "Well," and they're seeing her as like she may be the one getting in the way. And I'm like, guys, nobody's getting in my way. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. But they want to blame somebody, and I'm like, don't take me
Yeah.
down this road. There's no reason for your mom and I to have conflict for
Yeah.
no reason. But it's funny because they're like, they see me as old man with some wisdom. So they're like,
Yeah.
"Are you sharing that?" I'm like, "I'm not." Well, right here, Decoded Podcast, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call what I have to say.
And you know what, kids? You ever want to come talk to me? I'm here. It's kind of like,
Uncle
keep it in the
Chris.
family. Uncle Chris. Yeah. So, yeah, I remember that was a thing. I think we both just kind of like walked away from it. I mean, it's not the thing that it used to be. It's not even a thing anymore, is it? So, the person that was the kind of running that thing, it hasn't come back since that last season, right? So something changed. I think the interest changed. It was a it was a glimmer in a moment that a few people got a part of, people from our crew, people that were involved in, writing and teaching that were around us. We got swept up in it, I think. We thought, yeah, you know what? We got something to say. And then it's like, nope, you don't. I'm like, okay, you don't.
No biggie.
No biggie. It isn't. It's on we go.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to on we go.
Is it on we go? On we go.
Um, any final
Ugh.
words?
I got to go get water softener salt. That's kind of the hidden thing, eh? Do you have a water softener?
Yes, we do. And every time
Is
I
it?
go to Costco, I
Oh,
get
there you go.
I get a bunch of bags and I tell the boys or the boy, whoever's home, it's like, "I
Get
just
it from
bought
the
a ton
car.
of bags. Get it out of the car for me, please."
I might, but I know at this point, 9 a.m.,
Oh yeah,
that's just gonna kill me. So I might just go to Metro.
fair enough.
Yeah, because I know. Do you get the good salt, or you just get the processed stuff? Do you actually get rock salt, or do you get the pellets?
I've done both. I think
Yeah,
the pellets are more readily available just
they are.
because they are. I buy whatever's there. If I
Yeah.
can get the good stuff, I do buy it, but whatever Costco has is what I
Yeah.
normally grab.
The place, there's actually just a place there. The closer place is to get the rock salt. There actually is a the company Whitewater that we got our water softener from is 5 minutes from my house. Metro is 10 minutes.
Mm.
Costco's 11. So I mean it's like if I'm driving, so it's funny. What it kind of comes down to is they're cash only though if you're picking up the bags of they have the rock salt and it's cash only and I don't often have cash. Like it's just I don't think to carry it anymore. I don't even have emergency cash, which is something interesting I started thinking about the other day. That telling my kids they should always have $50, like just in their wallet, hidden somewhere on them, $50. Like a 20, a 20, two tens and two fives. I no, right, but I think as I'm saying it, are you kind of like, yeah, that somewhere have some cash that you just have cash for something until we don't have to use cash anymore. Anyways, I don't have the cash. I have no cash to get it, so I'll probably do Metro. I'll see what the timing's like with Karen getting their tires flipped. So
I used a check the other day, and everybody around me was like, "Oh my god,
a check,
yeah, I love it. I still
brother,
have lots of checks. I
brother.
love
I
it. I
don't
feel important." Rochelle, have a
take care,
wonderful
Rochelle.
weekend as well. And Gary, you're welcome anytime,
Yeah, yeah.
Gary. If I can ever talk to you again, Gary.
You wrote a check.
Yeah, bro.
I don't remember the last one I did. I
It's
think the last one I actually did was to send in so I could get automatic withdrawal from my one of my accounts. And I
gotcha.
didn't even send a check. I actually I scanned a check and sent that in. So I didn't even have to I didn't have to write anything on it.
Okay.
Okay, dude.
This was season 9, episode 7, number 355, the Decoded Podcast. Have a great weekend.
Peace, man. I'll probably chat you later.